This week on Charger Bulletin News, breaking news, an update on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict in the Middle East. Get ready for the homecoming pep rally and more events on campus this weekend. And weekly updates with our Charger Sports Report, right here on Charger Bulletin News.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Charger Bulletin News. My name is Presley Depew.
And I'm Naomi Corona. Let's get started with this week's stories.
Before we venture into our usual program, we would like to take a moment to bring attention to updates regarding the Palestinian-Israeli conflict in the Middle East. Our producer, Stephen Ganji, has more.
Breaking news is developing overseas as conflicts deepen between Israel and Palestine. The Hamas are a foreign terrorist group who act in defense of Palestine. They are one of the Palestinians' territory's two major political parties, which governs more than 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. But the group is best known internationally for its armed resistance to Israel. They recently began retaliating against Israel by attacking their civilian population, physically and sexually. It has been 16 years since Israel's direct siege over Gaza, trapping over 2 million Palestinians inside the region. This year alone, over 400 Palestinians have been killed under Israeli rule, and an additional 950 deaths after the retaliatory airstrikes from Israel. Attacks from Israel have included cutting off electricity, food, and water from millions, as well as bombing schools and buildings, and even raiding and bombing numerous mosques within recent months. Since the start of the attack, more than 1,200 Israelis have been killed by the Hamas group. The Hamas commander, Mohammed Deif, released a recorded message calling for support from all Palestinians, where he expressed the reasoning behind the attacks as, quote, "Today, the people are regaining their revolution," end quote, and expressed their goals as to, quote, "expel the occupiers and demolish the walls," end quote. The U.S. officially became involved this week by deploying the world's largest warship in efforts to assist Israel. Following the Hamas attacks earlier this week, the U.S. has made the decision to send a complete wave of aid to the ally country, including aircraft and naval aid. This support is promised to be, quote, "rock solid and unwavering," end quote, according to President Joe Biden. Biden explained his motives behind this decision in saying, quote, "As we continue to account for the horrors of the appalling terrorist assault against Israel this weekend and the hundreds of innocent civilians who were murdered, we are seeing the immense scale and reach of this tragedy. Sadly, we now know at least 11 American citizens were among those killed, many of whom made a second home in Israel," end quote. Since this statement has been made, an updated tally of 14 American lives have been lost. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called the Hamas attack a, quote, "massive terrorist attack," end quote. The American reaction is mixed to the U.S.'s responses to the international political climate. The Charger Bulletin has reached out for comments from professors and individuals across campus and will be providing updates via social media and the Charger Bulletin newspaper. Charger Bulletin will be following these events as more updates come through. We also extend a heartfelt condolence to all the lives lost within this conflict and to those among our campus community who are directly impacted. For those who are seeking support, counseling and psychological services are available for all students, and the Myatt Center for Diversity and Inclusion has opened their doors for those seeking community and conversation. Additionally, the Meditation and Spirituality Center, located at 15 Rudin Street, is available for people of all faiths and beliefs to use to practice their traditions within a safe space.
The university is currently commencing a presidential search in hopes to interview candidates interested in the position of university president following the retirement of Chancellor Stephen Kaplan. The Presidential Search Committee Chair, Mike Ambrose, who also serves as the Vice Chair of the Board of Governors, sent out a recent update to the university community where he said, quote, "I would like to thank you for your participation last week in our stakeholder listening sessions. Over the course of 9 forums and 5 small group sessions, more than 170 individuals participated and another 130 people completed the confidential survey," end quote. The Presidential Search Committee is working closely with Witt Kiefer, the executive search firm that is supporting the search. Ambrose also mentioned that in the update in regards to Witt Kiefer, quote, has completed the leadership profile that is being used to recruit candidates and to articulate the opportunity that awaits our next president. Another major update pertains to the presidential search website, which has been launched in hopes to officially begin the recruitment of qualified candidates. This also offers university students and staff to submit an individual's name for nomination. Ambrose continued by saying, quote, I encourage you to take this time to do this, as I have been told by our search consultants that the strongest nominations often come from those who are closest to the institution, end quote. This nomination form can be found at the top of My Charger. Priority applications for nominations begin on December 11th, but can be submitted at any time between now and then. Students or members of the campus community are interested in a chance to share their input can do so by completing the confidential presidential search input survey, which can be found on Charger Connection as well.
October marks the beginning of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Students, faculty, and staff are invited to partake in the Breast Cancer Awareness Month walk across campus. This will take place on Wednesday, October 18th at 3 p.m. and seeks to raise awareness on the impact of breast cancer across the nation and throughout our campus community. The walk will kick off with Dr. Eva Sappi, who will be sharing information regarding breast cancer research that herself, alongside her university students, are conducting. Dr. Sappi will be followed by a member of the university community who will share some of her personal experience as a breast cancer survivor. Participants of the walk will be in the Maxi Quad at 3 p.m. and will make 3 stops before concluding the walk at the Cathy Zola Stadium. These 3 stops will be separate locations throughout campus and will feature additional campus community members sharing facts about breast cancer and offer preventative measures that may lower the risk of contracting the cancer. The women's soccer team will then be playing at the Cathy Zola Stadium at 4 p.m. All participants are further encouraged to take part in a raffle during the game and then be recognized at midfield during the game's halftime. On the Monday prior to the walk, October 16th, walk participants are invited to Bixler Gerber Quad from 1 to 4 p.m. to partake in the t-shirt tie-dye event, which can then be worn on the day of the walk. Participants are also welcome to join the quote, I walk for / walking in memory, end quote, sign making event, where they will also receive a breast cancer awareness ribbon. This will be while supplies last. This event is co-hosted by the Wellness 360 program for employees and Holistic Care program for students.
Now let's head to Will Hank, who is back this week with an update on the Charger Sports Report. Let's head to him for more on that and the world of sports.
Hello and welcome to the Charger Sports Report. My name is Will Hink and let's get into it. The women's tennis team had a pair of dominating conference wins over the weekend. Their first match at Bentley finished in a 7-0 sweep for New Haven and was followed by a 6-1 victory over St. Anselm at home. They sit at second in the conference. The women's volleyball team had a homestand starting with a non-conference match against Post. The Chargers continued their dominant streak with a 3-1 win. In their match against American International, they fell behind 2-1 before storming back to win the game 3-2. They sit at third in the conference after that thriller of a match. Field hockey had 2 matches over the weekend, both against conference opponents. They opened things with a 4-2 win over SNHU. They held a slim lead going into overtime, but pushed ahead into the second overtime. They had a special pink game match against Mercy to celebrate the beginning of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They lost the game 5-3 and sit at 9th in the conference. The football team held their Family Day festivities against Lincoln University. The lucky families in attendance watched the Chargers' opponents get completely shut down as they pulled out a 38-0 win. They got their scoring done in the first half as the second half was a fast and scoreless affair. New Haven remains at first in the conference. That's all there is for Charger Athletics. Congratulations to the team that gained a win this weekend. I'm Will Hink. And now let's head back to the desk.
There are loads of events happening all around campus this week. Let's jump right in with information on the university's homecoming week, which will kick off this Thursday at 5 p.m. Kat Denny has more on this.
It's finally homecoming week. We will be kicking off the weekend on Thursday with USGA's pep rally in the Bixler Gerber Quad from 5 to 7 p.m. They will be hosting a barbecue, giving out free swag, and showcasing performances throughout the night. Then Saturday morning, tailgating will kick off bright and early at 9 a.m. and will go all the way until 4 p.m., keeping the energy in the North Lot alive even past kickoff. Pan-Hellenic organizations are diving deep into their philanthropies this month. While Sigma Alpha Epsilon just wrapped up their Phi Alpha Week in support of their philanthropies, this week, Phi Sigma Sigma has also dedicated their time for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. During their AFSP week, the sisters tabled on campus, held fundraising events, and attended the organization's walk on October 1st. Delta Phi Epsilon has been holding their fundraisers for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, including a cornhole tournament on Monday night that collected donations for the cause. Head over to any of these Greek organizations on Instagram for more information on how to donate to their philanthropies. And earlier this month, the University Police Department and Dean of Students Office released the 2023 Annual Security Report. The report gave an extensive rundown of the different legal definitions used to classify recorded incidents on campus before providing tables that outline the events that took place from 2020 to 2023, broken down by calendar year. Categories included aggravated assault, liquor and drug violations, armed robberies, and hate crimes. Stay tuned for updates and more details in next week's episode. That's all for Student Life this week. Now let's hear from Amanda Thompson, who has information about one of my all-time favorite artists, Taylor Swift, and more in the world of entertainment.
Hello and welcome back to Entertainment. I'm Amanda Thompson and we have lots to cover this week. As promised, we have more Swiftie news for you. Taylor's infamous Eras Tour, making more than $300 million throughout its stint, is coming to theaters. Beginning this Friday, October 13th, the Eras Tour is coming to the big screen. With a running time of 2 hours and 45 minutes, all movie theaters will be packed full of Swifties reliving the Super Bowl-style performance. For those who didn't get a chance to attend in person, tickets will be selling for $20. Taylor herself has encouraged her fans to bring the full concert experience to the theaters. Feel free to dress as your favorite era, swap your friendship bracelets, and be ready to dance. Don't hesitate in grabbing tickets if you haven't already. All right, you might want to take a seat for this one. Doja Cat has found herself in a whole round of controversy these days. The American rapper and singer is known for some of her songs titled Kiss Me More, Boss Bitch, and Woman. This past July, Doja faced major backlash after sharing her distaste for her fans referring to themselves as kittens with a Z. After bashing them on social media, she suffered a loss of 250,000 Instagram followers. Just 1 month later, in August, she then dropped her latest hit, Paint the Town Red. Many speculated this song was in retaliation against the backlash. Doja is clearly no stranger to a public controversy. On Friday, October 6th, the rapper posted and then deleted a photo of herself wearing a shirt with comic Sam Hyde's face on it. Hyde is known to hold ties with the neo-Nazi movement. She then went to repost the image with her shirt cropped out. Her followers did not support this, leaving comments on the post itself, as well as posting their frustrations with her actions on X, formerly known as Twitter. Even with this scandal and facing some serious criticism from her fans, Doja is scheduled to begin her upcoming tour featuring her new album, Scarlet, kicking off on Halloween in San Francisco. Do you think Doja's actions will affect her tour sales? Thank you for tuning in to Entertainment this week. My name is Amanda Thompson. Now let's head back to the desk to wrap up this week's episode with information on the women's golf team in their Northeast 10 Conference Championship and more.
This past weekend, the women's golf team captured their first Northeast 10 Conference Championship. The Chargers beat out four-time defending champions Franklin Pierce by 6 strokes, and this championship comes in the program's second year of competition as they join Franklin Pierce and Merrimack College as the third women's golf program to win an NE10 championship. In a recent email congratulating the program on their win, interim president Dr. Shayan Singer said, quote, "In the 2 years it has been competing, the women's golf program has created an immense amount of pride for the university," end quote. Additionally, graduate transfer student Winter Flores and first-year student Isabella Thomas were named to the all-championship team after tying out for second and fourth on the individual leaderboard, respectively. The conference title also brings in an automatic bid for the Chargers to compete in the NCAA Division II Super Regionals taking place next spring. The next scheduled tee-off for the Chargers is the Assumption Women's Golf Tournament this Sunday, October 15th, in Worcester, Massachusetts.
On Monday, October 23rd, the 46th Annual Advanced Homicide Investigation Symposium will be held both in person, hosted by the Henry E. Lee Institute of Forensic Science, and virtually. The symposium will focus on domestic violence intervention and investigation, where experts will provide participants with insight and guidance on key concepts that address both intervention and investigation of domestic violence cases. The event will feature some noticeable keynote speakers such as Professor Galina Portnoy, PhD, Yale University, and Director of the Intimate Partner Violence Center for Innovation and Research at the VA Connecticut Healthcare System. Connecticut State's Attorney Margaret E. Kelly and Dr. Henry C. Lee, PhD, founder of the Henry C. Lee Institute of Forensic Science. Following the keynote speakers, participants will partake in a panel discussion on the forensic investigation of incidents of domestic violence. This panel will consist of law enforcement and forensic professionals. The event is specifically intended for students interested, community members, law enforcement, forensic, and legal professionals, but is open to all interested. If interested, ticket prices range between $100 for in-person general admission and $25 for virtual general admission. University students can purchase in-person tickets for $25 and $10 for virtual admissions. You can register for this event on MyCharger.
That's all the time we have for this week.
You can check out the latest Charger Bulletin newspaper on chargerbulletin.com or newsstands around campus.
Stay up to date by following us on social media at Charger Bulletin.
Check out our link tree for access to the Horseshoe magazine.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Presley Depew.
And I'm Naomi Corona. See you next week on another episode of Charger Bulletin News.